chase success with Global.Media.com. Let's celebrate it with or without champagne.
Hello everyone. I'm here, so I'm trying to reach my phone so I can start my YouTube. Okay, welcome everyone. So this is Fridays. I guess this is a show that we all need. We should all be at. I think some people are scared of the reality, Scott and Justin. They're scared of the fact that they're gonna die. Right? We're all gonna die. When I got your book yesterday, I thought this is a book everyone needs because we're all gonna need it, right? It's anyway. We'll show you the book, my friends, because Scott has his proof copy. I've got my proof copy. I've done a post earlier about it. Have you done your post yet, Scott? There it is. Look at that beautiful book. I'm in love with the book. It is. I think it's my best book yet. But I always say that about my books, right? Well, this really is. This is different because, as we were talking about earlier, Scott, I've changed the font, and of course, the content is, is I say something that we all need, right? I am made up, Scott. I'm made up. I'm so excited by how far you've got with the book, but it's a we thing, right? It takes a team. Of course, Alexis as well. We thank you. Look, my friend, welcome. And let me let Scott and Justin say hello. Otherwise, it's just me talking to you, right? Scott, I give you the mic, my friend. Now, tell them what you're going to tell them, who you are, why, all that stuff.
Thank you, Annie. Thank you. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thank you. Appreciate you. I'm Scott Stewart. I'm from the United Kingdom. Run a company called Man in the Mirror. And this is about my book. We're launching next week on the 17th, which is Before We Die, our final chapter. And the book is pretty much as Annie said and suggested. For anyone that joined last week, it was talking about the practical issues of dealing with death, whether that be sadly our own or that of a loved one who's facing a terminal illness. It talks about, obviously, sudden death, where it's an unexpected. And this week, we're going to be talking about the emotional side of life and death, really. But the book in itself, although it seems a morbid title, Before We Die, our final chapter, is more about living. It's about living your best life and becoming aware of death and embracing it and accepting it in terms of whether that's physical side, the emotional side. One thing's for sure, it will affect everybody on this planet. And it's something that's dear to my heart. The book was inspired and written following my experiences with my sister, Elizabeth, and my father, Ron. Having taken them through their stages of terminal illnesses for a different period of time, and the experiences that I encountered, the pains, the losses, the wins, the experience was just beyond belief. And I decided that I would write the book to help other people. And that helped me to connect to other people in my coaching business. A client who was which with us today, Justin, welcome. He'll have the mic in a moment. And he and I just shared a kindred spirit. We're very supportive of one another. And yes, my book is just about helping people, guiding people, taking them through that process of understanding really about what its expectations or any anticipations really, and allowing you to just focus on helping that person or indeed dealing with something yourself when we're facing inevitably death.
Superb. It's a serious topic, but we have to be human, and like you say, it's about living more than dying, right? There's no point. I don't think you're ever ready to die if you haven't lived.
Yes.
Let's talk about you, Justin. Please tell us who you are. Tell us what you want to tell us, and then I'll introduce my friends who are here.
Yep. As Scott said, known Scott for quite a while now. Justin from Keep a Hold, come about by my dad's suicide 2 years ago, which was totally unexpected. I've always had a huge passion for mental health and suicide prevention anyway. Myself being an army veteran, seeing 6 of my mates blew up. Suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder for 20 years before I was diagnosed. When drugs and all the other things didn't work for us, mindset, and basically understanding that if I allowed myself to keep thinking what I thought, I was stuck back at that event for the rest of my life, which got us involved in other communities, where I met Scott, always admired Scott. Man after my own heart, loads of values that I really appreciate. And when I was losing again with my dad's suicide, I turned to Scott because old things were resurfacing again. I lost my lack of self-worth. I actually nearly lost my marriage through destructive behaviours, coping methods. Turned to Scott, said, listen, mate, I need a hand like you now. I've lost direction. I don't know where I'm going. I felt like a fraud because I'd spent a lot of money on my personal development. I've got, as you can see, I've got plenty of accreditations for it all. But my dad's suicide, when I drank with my dad every Friday night, and my dad just woke up one Friday morning and decided to drink a bottle of bleach. And it took him 3 months to die with the complications, and it just absolutely destroyed us. I couldn't cope with it. I felt like a fraud. Turned to Scott. Best thing I've ever done, really. We're not going to bruise trumpet too much. It was always in us. Turned to him. We just get on really well. We know each other really well. He's Scott's personal story as well blows me away every time I've heard that. There's big things ahead for us, and I thank you, like Scott, and you know what, I appreciate you too. And that's basically me in a nutshell.
Superb, my friend, superb. And I'm sure, hopefully, we'll get to hear more of your thoughts, especially on our topic today. Now, thank you for joining us. I see Samuel's here as well, and I say, I love your accent, Justin, and I want your accent, and no one understands why. Either yours or Scottish, I want an accent of sorts, right? I've managed to make myself sound English, Londoner. I'm a Londoner, of course I am, right? But I live in Cornwall, so but I love that.
I'm not Scottish, though, any.
Hey?
I'm not Scottish.
No, I don't know. Either yours or Scottish. I want an accent.
Geordie. I'm a Geordie.
Yeah, I know. I can hear that. But I want a strong.
All right, I thought you said I was Scottish.
I think either yours or a Scottish one. I want a strong accent that's different. Anyway, welcome, my friends. Welcome, my friends. I see Calm is here as well. So we're gonna have a party, my friends. Of course we are. Let me welcome the superstar, Philip. So Philip was in the military as well, Justin, and so I'm sure he understands many of the things you're saying. He too speaks about the transition from that a mindset to a way of thinking about love and kindness as a way to be. I say all that when I mention my friends, but I say do connect with them. LinkedIn is all about connecting with people. So after the show, go in the comments and connect. Welcome, Philip. Glad you're here. Say Liana, superstar, another one. I'm so glad you're here. When you're here, I feel safe. I feel like my life is my room's going to be what it's meant to be, right? So thank you so much for being here. Of course, we have the great Tracy. She does events herself, does audiobooks. Scott, you should consider turning your book into an audiobook.
I have another one in mind, as you know, so I'll connect.
Now Tracy's the one. And I said audiobooks. There's reasons for it. It pretty much sells itself. It's a strange thing. Audible sell your books. Literally, they send emails to everyone. I keep saying, buy this book, buy this audiobook. So it's a good thing. My clients will sell audiobooks without doing much at all. Tracy says, your book cover alone speaks for itself. Thank you for bringing it to live. I agree. Thank you for bringing it to live indeed. Thank you for bringing it to us and to our community. Sharon Rose, another one who gives me peace when I see her in our room, and 24 Lisa. Now that's my trio of people who ground me in this event. So as I say, Sharon Rose welcomes. I made peace with the circle of life at 6. Wow. It's never easy, but when we realize each soul is infinite, we've mainly transitioned to non-physical. Yeah, you're speaking Scots language there, right? It becomes more
100%. Yes.
I have no idea what happens when we die, so I'm not going to pretend I do. I just know. But I think I just focus on living. Living a good life, being a good person. That's the best I can do. And hopefully, what comes next will come. Right? I can't. I don't think much about it. When the day comes, guess what? I'll be dead, right? I can accept that. That's just how it is. So welcome, Melissa, Dr. Melissa Houston. I call her the crayon lady, the crayon coach. So her coaching essentially concentric circles to make sense of stuff using crayons. That's writing. And how you can work with big companies doing that, I don't know, but she does. So again, another one you definitely want to connect with. Thank you so much for being here, Melissa. She does her rooms as well. So again, connect with them and go along and support. Now, that's how you build a community, right? Go and see who they are. Go and support them. Go and, that's how we move forward. Don't just do this event today, Scott, and then say that's it. After my launch, I'm going to hide from LinkedIn. Be one of us. Join us. Everyone here, join us. Michael goes everywhere. So let's become real friends. That's my point, right? Tracy, Dr. Houston, how can you say I haven't got an accent? I don't have an accent the way Justin does. He's got a beautiful accent. He's got a real accent. I had an accent when I was a kid, Nigerian accent. From my village, but that's disappeared. I don't sound anywhere near what I sounded like. I can do on a Friday night. I dare say it. After a good drink or two, I can sound like myself. So but I rarely do. Hold on, let me go back a bit. So thank you, Justin, for sharing your story, and sorry for your loss. So, you're better than me, Tracy. Thank you for saying that. So I do get excited about what I'm doing. So I tend to sort of, Justin, looks, all our sympathies go to you, my friend. It's I can't imagine.
I'm at peace with it now. It's like I say, I've got a strong mindset. It's been strengthened by Scott. A lot of people say it's very matter-of-factly, and one thing a lot of people say about me is like my heart's on my sleeve and there's no black or there's no grey for me. There's just black or white. My dad was always going to die at one point, so I could choose whether to hang on to it and grieve it about the fact that it was suicide, or just accept it as he's no longer with us. And that's what I chose to do. I myself, like I say, I was 20 years post-traumatic stress disorder. Never ever thought about suicide, though. Always knew there was a better day ahead and stuff like that. So I can't imagine the pain my dad was in his mind to do that. But I just accepted as in the way of he's no longer with us, and I was going to have to get that at some point. And I'm 55 on Tuesday, so I had a good 55 years with them. And a lot of people aren't as fortunate as that to have that long with their parents. So I just look on the good side of it.
Yeah, it's a positive way of looking at it for sure. And not everyone can do that. So I'm sure I will struggle for sure. They said, welcome Alexis, our super editor for the book. Right. So a couple more comments, and let's start the conversation because we've got a lot to cover and not a lot of time to do so. Sean, welcome to Super Inner Potential Activator, mindset coach, the best one ever by any other name, but he does inner potential work. Yeah. He's excited. He's done 4 chapters of his book, Reborn at 50, in real life starts now. I like that. It's true. My friend Kelly did say that we'll get 2 lives. But when we start living our best life, we'll realize we've only got 1 life left. And that's normally midlife, I suddenly realize, I better start living the good life, right? Doing the right things for myself. Sure, you're welcome to come to join the stage if you want. All right. Sharon Rose, you saw me. I'm joking. Now, Mike, again, you're welcome to come to the studio. I send you a link to you, so we'd love to hear your thoughts. I know, of course, for anyone who knows you, who listens to you, knows that you've experienced a huge loss lately. So if anything you want to come and share with us, feel free. Okay. I've welcomed most people. There'll be more, I'm sure. Sorry, Sean. Sean always beats me when I get this wrong, right? Identity disruptor is what Sean is. Tells me. Yes. Oh, okay. So inner potential activator and identity disruptor. Okay, I get it. I think. So welcome all of you. Now, say we do need a coffee, Sharon Rose. You know, when they coffee chat, I need a coffee as well. I don't drink coffee, I drink more tea, right? That's what we do in England. Right. You know, so look, my friends, this is all about, you know, Scott's book. Mike, welcome. I see you. I'm going to bring you up in a second. This is all about this book. You can't see it well on my screen, but it is a beautiful little book. You know, I say beautiful, but you know, that's how we designed it. And I love how it looks inside. Look, many times, Scott, when you publish a book, you look at it, you think, oh, that could be done better. Oh, that could be done better. And this one is as good as we could have made this. But of course, it's been a team effort. Alexis included as the editor. You know, you obviously pointing out, you know, and reading the book. How many times have you read the book, Scott?
Lots. 10 or 15 times maybe. And it's been, each time you just see something and you learn something. And I think, like you said, that could have been better. We could have done that more. And then I think we got to the stage last week and you just pretty much said, leave it alone.
That's why I love Scott. You know, a lot of people struggle to read their books and they keep me waiting. I'm like, just read the book. It's your book. And they're like, but you know they haven't read it because there's mistakes that even I see that they haven't seen, and that just gives me a headache. But you've read your book. You know, it tells me that you love your book. You know, by now you must read. You know, of course, you know your book inside out. Of course, you wrote it, right? But now you must love your book for what it is. My friends, I want you to come and buy the book on the 17th. So next Wednesday, we're going to launch the book. The book will be 99 cents for the US people, 77 pence for the UK people. Just go and buy the ebook. That's what I need you to do, you know, because that way we can make Scott an international best-selling author.
Fingers crossed.
And the book an international bestseller. That means more people get to see the book on the store, on Amazon stores. More people get to benefit from reading it. I need your help to make that happen, though. So welcome, Jay. You know, Jay is a 5-time bestseller. So for his book, Rules of Engagements and Storytelling. That's not another one we worked on. Welcome, Jay. Glad you're here, my friend. Right. Okay. I've done enough talking. I've talked way too much. Scott, I'll give you the mic, my friend. You know, paint a picture. What are we going to talk about today?
Thank you, Annie. So today is more about the emotional side of the process, really, and the journey towards our final chapter, which is death. And I'd actually like to read an excerpt from the book, if that's okay with everybody. Please bear with me. Here's one I prepared earlier.
This is your event, man. You know, you read away. Do as much as you want.
Yeah. So just to give a little flavour, really. So I think last week we read the book blurb about who it is and what I am and why the book's been designed. I would like to give a special mention to my sons, both for the inspiration and more so for the front cover. It was designed by my 12-year-old son. And just a massive thank you to him. So really appreciate that. And there's a special mention in the book, but you'll get to see that when you read it. So this chapter 1, and it says how to face death with dignity and acceptance. And it reads, one of the most profound and transformative aspects of dying is the ability to meet it with dignity and acceptance. Dignity here does not refer to an outward display of composure or strength. Rather, it is about allowing oneself to be human in the face of death. It is about embracing the full spectrum of emotions without shame or judgment. And it is about respecting one's body, mind, spirit, and the choices until the very end. For the dying person, finding dignity often involves coming to terms with the physical decline and surrendering to the process of letting go. In various cultures, there is a profound wisdom in embracing death as part of our life, rather than something to fear or fight. Acceptance of death can bring a sense of peace, not because one is ready to die, but because one has chosen to stop resisting what is inevitable. This acceptance is not the same as giving up. Rather, it is the act of releasing the struggle and finding a way to be present in the moment, even as the body fades. How does one find this grace in the face of something so overwhelming? For some, it is through deep reflection, faith, or spiritual practice. For others, it may be through conversations with loved ones, or by revisiting their legacy, reconnecting with important life moments, and making amends where necessary. The practice of gratitude, reflecting on the joys and achievements of life, despite its brevity, can also foster a sense of acceptance. The truth is, the more one is able to come to terms with the idea that life has an infinite timeline, a finite timeline, sorry, and more peace can be found in the reality. For loved ones, offering the dying person dignity means honoring their wishes and supporting their autonomy. This might involve difficult conversations about end-of-life care, respecting their preferences for pain management, or simply providing a space where they can be themselves without fear of burdening others. It also means being present in ways that allow them to feel seen, heard, and valued, whether through shared moments of silence, storytelling, or simply holding their hand in stillness. And that's the emotional side, really, of everything that we try to encapsulate. And it's what we talked about, when I was preparing the book. And hi to Alexis, my editor there. I appreciate that. Alexis's feedback was more around questioning me and asking me about my experiences with my sister and my father. And again, it's something that I shared personally with Justin. And it's part of what we call my story, but ultimately it's what created the book. And what led me, as I say, to ultimately want to help others. And the launch price, as we've discussed, as I've said, I'm not here to make millions, I'm here to help millions. We want to make the price affordable to everybody and obviously share it around the world and help as many people as possible, really, whilst facing a difficult time. And the key thing for the emotional side of the death is, whilst having dealt with all the practical aspects that we discussed last week during our session, is that the emotional side and the spiritual side is you can just be present with the person who's dying.
So I remember when we were, I guess, supporting my wife's mum. It wasn't easy. Being in the hospice every day wasn't easy at all. And I say that literally, you're watching them go, literally, they're going, right? Yeah, and literally, and that's just how it is, right? But there's many things that we can do. I mean, this is probably where your book got me, Scott. Where I was thinking, there's a lot that we can do. And I mean, no. Do you talk? Did you sit there? I didn't know what to do. So again, of course, with each passing day, the end's getting closer. How do you deal with that? So I struggled a bit.
Fundamentally, there is no right and no wrong, and that's ultimately how the book starts. It just says there is no perfect recipe. Everybody's death is different. How we die is different. Some can be very sudden. Some can be unannounced. We discussed last week that people go out to work and never return. We take the Twin Towers. We've obviously had Charlie Kirk this week. A sudden death and assassination, and life can be gone in less than a second. Where there are other times where, like with my experience with my sister, particularly my father, we had many months, many weeks to prepare. So we had that chance to say goodbye. We had the chance to say I love you after having dealt with all the practical things of talking about wills and properties and leaving children behind and preparing things and documents and legal things. That's what we call the white noise aspect, but albeit very significant for the person who's dying, because ultimately once they know their affairs financially and personally were in order, particularly with my sister, she then realized that she was willing and ready to let go, to say goodbye. So I think in answer to your question, there isn't really a right and a wrong. If you want to speak. If you want to just sit in silence and hold somebody's hand, all of those things are absolutely perfectly fine. There isn't a right or a wrong answer in any of these cases. And everybody here will no doubt have either had an experience of losing a loved one or somebody dying. And yeah, some people are very, very different. We talked about the 5 stages of grief and the process last week through the Dabdar, and the depression, acceptance, anger, bargaining, and going through that process on a loop. And it's fundamentally, that's the case. If I may share, I had a phone call just prior to our Zoom today from a potential client who, very sadly, her husband decided to end his life only 2 weeks ago. And she's been referred to counselling services. And I could hear immediately where she was on that process about the anger. She's angry with him for losing, his life, and she's angry with him for leaving her and the children. And I just said, that's perfectly natural. Just accept it. Just allow it to flow through you. And she's already gone back to work because she needs that distraction. again, nobody's there to judge. We're all very, very different. Some would take years and years off, months and months, or weeks and weeks. And she decided that that's the way she wishes to deal with it. But I've also explained to her that there will be more to come. So just allow it to happen, really. So yes, life becomes us all, and death becomes us all. And that's the challenge that we face. Be interested in anyone else's comments on it. Justin, please do share.
Well, mine, Scott, as you know, is pretty different to that. So
yes,
obviously you get a phone call saying your dad's been took to hospital. Me being very pragmatic in how I am, when everybody was in panic and all that, I was going, well, what's the crack? And they were like, well, they've said the next 24 hours are paramount, what the success will be. But if he does get 24 hours, it's 50-50. And I'd said, well, look, 50-50 is you put a bet on 50-50, it's even. He's in the right place. He's in hospital, so they've got him there. And the irony, he's still breathing. And obviously, you got past the first day. Once you got past day 3, it was up to about 80%. And then there was the roller coaster over the next 3 months where he was sepsis, pneumonia, lungs collapsed, sepsis again, coma, and just up and down and up and down. But me being me, I firmly believe my dad was always going to come home, and the battle we would have was with his mental health. And then effectively he committed suicide again because he refused a tracheotomy that would have kept him alive. And there's just with suicide, till the day I die, there'll be questions. And you're never ever going to get them answered. That's the for me personally, the hardest thing for it is there's too many whys. Like why this? Why? I mean, why couldn't he even wait till the Friday night? He'd have been out drinking with me in 8 hours time after that. We had a great relationship. But again, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing with this now, because suicide can literally be like that, But again, my dad's case was pretty unique because they were like, my dad actually made a dental appointment and had his breakfast, and then 10 minutes later went and drank a bottle of bleach. And there's just no explanation for that. What happened in them 10 minutes that you can make a dental appointment, which was planning for the future. You have your breakfast, technically planning for the future, because you're not going to eat if you're not going to be here. And then 10 minutes later you go, oh, enough, and then do some of the severe as drinking bleach as well. But for me was, obviously, as you know, Scott, I had me real bad time. I think for me what happened was I spent so much time looking after the family and saying, like, trying to protect everybody and put on a brave face. I didn't really grieve. And it come and kicked me in the arse about eight months later. But again, out of the back of that, like I say, I set up Keto Hold. I ran London Marathon. There's been so many positives on it, and as harsh as it does sound, and I hate to say it, because I do feel it as if some people may think it's a disservice to me dad. He was always going to die at some point. So as long as I can come to terms with that and I can be happy with that, which I am, he was never going to live. I'm not going to live. None of us are going to live forever. So it's done. I'd love him to be here every day, but I just focus on all the good times with him now, and I celebrate his life and I celebrate the person he is. And like, there's never a truer saying that you don't truly die until the last time your name is mentioned. And I was fortunate that my dad was a really well-respected person in my local community. And when I'm out and about, people still tell me stories about my dad that I've never heard. So I look on all them sides.
Thank you, Justin. That was brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, it's it's an emotional journey. That's the bit that we can't miss, right? Yeah, and it's a hard one, but like you say, Justin, it's going to happen to all of us. That's the only thing we can guarantee, right? I say. So it's a realization. Let me stop talking. So Sean says, I understand the grief steps to be more like a star rather than the steps through the phases. You can jump from one to the other and back again.
True.
Yeah. So that resonates with you, Scott? And Tracy
It does.
says,
yeah.
So well said, Scott. Help millions not to make millions. No, make millions as well. Make millions as well. I'm not going to hide it.
Yeah. That's the byproduct.
I need an author that's going to make me the publisher on the same level as J.K. Rowling's publisher. Like literally global. That's what I need, right? I don't care who it is. I just need someone whose book is going to go so big that everyone comes to me to publish the books. That's my dream.
Can I play you, Scott, in the film then?
Let's do it. No, Scott, you know, so Scott's the only person I argue with. No, I don't argue. Scott's the only one who comes to me and say, "I want to lower the price." I'm like, okay, if you say so.
Yes, that's been discussed many times. Yeah.
Go on, Scott.
Just on Tracy's point, really, that's exactly it, Tracy, and thank you for the comment. I appreciate it. It was, I want to make it, even the affordability, as long as my costs are covered, even if making a few pence. I know we sat and had our meeting about what the authors should receive and how it works and royalties, and it means a lot to me, to the fact that somebody would buy my book first and foremost. So that's a thank you. The fact that then you can make some money off that is an absolute byproduct. You know, they say that's a recognition of a sort of a reward as a job well done. But for me, it was about literally the amount of pain that I went through, and obviously having spoken to Justin and other clients and people in my life that have encountered a dying person or death or the experience of that, to have something so close to you, just to have this little pocket guide here, just to be able to maybe guide you through that process of flicking to a page. And, you know, it's only 57 pages, and I intentionally wrote it as such. The whole book is 87, but the actual story, if you like, the guide is 57, and then the rest are appendices. And it's those things that can help you. So it's how to write a letter to loved ones, things like kissing cards, how to say goodbye to family and friends, how to prepare. So there's some practical things in there, but it really does emotionally make you stop for a moment and think. But the affordability side was, if I could give this away for free and that was possible, then I absolutely would. The byproduct of that, as we discussed, was whether I, reach a further audience, whether I resonate or change somebody's life in America, Mexico, what will soon be Ghana, that I'm privileged that as a result of this book, that I'll obviously be standing on a stage. Well, I'll be there this time next week. We'll be in Ghana on our way, and on Sunday next week we'll be stood on stage together side by side. So without this book, I guess, albeit the price is the price, but we would never have connected. I would never have met William, and I wouldn't be going to Ghana. So for that, likewise, I'm truly, truly grateful.
No, we're grateful to you. Now, talk a bit. Thankfully, Amazon doesn't let us do free books anymore.
No,
unless you join Amazon Club, the Kindle Direct Club thing, so members thing, where then they can read a book and they pay you peanuts. Let's not go there. Let's leave that alone. Because your books get tied up with them for 3 months at least, right? So then talk briefly, if you don't mind, about your number system. So you're going to see this on the price and afterwards. Your number thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So we had some late night conversations when we were leading up to the book. I didn't truly believe I could have it ready. I've actually been working on the book now, probably just over 2 years in its entirety. So my sister died in May 2019. There was no book at that point. It was just purely me going through the process, the dabda, the stages, the star. Thank you for that. I love that analogy. And then my father died in November 2022. And at that point, I was able to use my experience from the past trauma to then help my father with his onward journey. And for me, I'm very spiritual. I'm very aligned. I'm very that sort of way inclined. Some people call it the woo-woo, but I'm a big believer that only since my experience of life coaching and after my, for want of a better, my breakdown in 2016, when I almost decided to take my own life, after finding my life coach in 2020 and being introduced to the law of attraction, cosmic karma and things like that, did I truly, truly start to believe. So I was then guided by angel numbers. So people talked about these things called spiritual guides or angel numbers and synchronicities, and Justin and I have had many hours talking about these amazing, wonderful things, the signs, the synchronicities. So I wanted to design the book around that. So we were looking at the stereotypical 999s and what we call the wallet openers, and 1337s and 1492s, and there's certain numbers that resonate with people. And for me, I wanted to make it more angel guided. So you may or may not have noticed, somebody will, but the book reads at 5 to 5, which is 555. And that's an angel number that was significant to me about launching it. And the angel number 555 refers to new chapters, starting afresh, new beginnings, and being able to cast away the old and start the new. And this book was very much about that. So the last couple of years, even in my life, I've had some challenges, both personally and business. And I've used this book as a platform and opportunity to decide to change me. And one of my mantras in my business is, if you want to be the change, then be the change. Meaning, if you want your life to change, you have to be the change. Don't expect it to come around. It's about taking action. So the book is priced when the ebook launches. We will initially do the 99 cents. That will be for one day only. So that's the special kind of introductory price. I have announced it at £1.25, which is UK GBP. We will be launching it on launch day at 99 cents, which will actually be 77 pence. So we'll make nothing from that in terms of any returns, but it's purely to make it, hopefully get me Amazon bestseller, but it's actually more affordability to get it out to as many people as possible, to share it, buy it as a Christmas gift, whatever it might be. So initially launching on ebook, and then the following day we will launch the paperback, which is this one here. And the ebook will be available at £5.55. And we're looking to launch the paperback at £8.88. And again, that's another angel number which resonates with myself, my journey, and obviously when we were working through this. And it's about talking about the guides of the spirits are there, your angels are with you. And whether you're a believer or a non-believer, some things we can't see, we often don't trust in. But my view is that, the cosmos, the universe, the galaxy, the world, it's far too big a place for us for a second to believe that we're the only things here, and that we have the privilege to occupy this space without anything or anyone else, whether we can see it, hear it, touch it, or feel it. And I think that's something I love. That, as I said, I shared with my father when he was dying in 22. His belief was that was it. You end, you die, you go in the ground, the worms eat you, and it's the circle of life. Where I had a blessing that I share in the book, where I had a chance to talk to him about energy and matter and vibration, and how energy never dies and it can't be created, merely transferred from one form to another. And I just think and feel that actually gave him some peace in his final days. So yes, the launch price on the day, on the 17th, is 77 pence or 99 cents. And that's a special price that we want to share. There'll be lots of giveaways and things we'll be doing. But then the following day, it will be £5.55 for the ebook, and it will be £8.88 for the paperback.
Thank you. You're being genuine in that. It's not about the money. I'll tell you now, my friends, I put the price a bit higher, a lot higher, because I have a number in my mind. My angel number, I see you say Sharon Rose, that angels are powerful. And I try to explain it to Scott, but all my clients get to realize I want them to make at least £3 out of each book in royalties.
Yeah.
We're coming a long way down from that. I assure you, right? But no, that's not. I guess that's not the real point, right? The book is there. Do go and check it out. Join us on launch day on a Wednesday. Join our live. As Scott says, buy the book and then send us confirmation. You have a chance to win a £20 voucher of your choice. Whether it's Amazon, whether it's something else that you can choose, and then Scott will send you the voucher. So you send us your confirmation that you bought the book, or there's your receipt from Amazon, a screenshot of the book in your library, whatever, right? As long as we have confirmation you bought it on launch day, you've been in the draw. Then maybe after when we come back from Ghana, Scott, then we will do the prize draw. We tend to do it live so people can see that we're being as honest as can be. There's a wheel, or there's a wheel of names, and the wheel spins and chooses the names.
Yeah. Or we could do it from Ghana, There's an option in the sun.
We could. Look, when I travel around our country, I carry my baby with me, this computer of mine. It doesn't, I carry it everywhere. People are like, what's that? I'm like, my baby. But I'm not taking him to Ghana. He's not coming to Ghana.
Okay, fair enough. But no, there'll be other prizes as well, Annie. I'd like to just even announce here that on the day we will potentially offer a free coaching session with myself. I'd like to offer anybody a wheel of life. So maybe just sit down with them, have a discovery call for an hour, free of charge for anyone that buys a book, and put them in the prize draw. Maybe Justin can offer that to some of his clients, and I'll pay that forward with thanks.
I do like that. I think you live and learn. And Scott, you've been a blessing, my friend. And we will make your book a bestseller. It's not maybe. I just hope our friends here will come and get the copy and get the friends to get more copies. We have a program, and I hear people every day. It gives me a headache. I had someone say it today. My book's the #1 bestseller. It's not. We can see whether your book's a bestseller. I have the tools to check. Your book's not #1. It's in top 100. Yes. This is Annie being a marketer, and I'm rather intent that Scott gets #1, because then it gets a badge for life. That bestseller, and the book gets a badge for life, and the book also gets to kick up on Amazon of being a bestseller, which means it's higher ranked. It means something. It's not just a thing. It's not just for the sake of it. It does mean something in terms of reach, in terms of visibility, in terms of credibility. That's why I need your help, my friends. But Scott and I love the idea of giving more prizes. You're gonna have to tell me and list them out so I know what we're offering, right?
Yes, I think I'd like to offer some signed copies as well, Annie. We talked about the authors.
Brilliant. I like that. Sharon Rose, thank you so much. I'll come to all the comments in good time. Dr. Rajeshwari, useful, good and useful topic. Welcome, my friends. I'm so glad you're here. So, Kazi as well. So thank you for joining us. I did mention earlier that my world is not complete until Dr. Lisa turns up. She's my best friend on LinkedIn, so she's here. All my best friends are here, so I'm all right now. The world is all right again on a Friday. Look, I'm going to pass the mic to one of our speakers. I can probably go to Calm. I think Calm was here first. But I will say this, again, in our process, my friends, no, you don't see many things. Of course you don't. You don't see me and Scott being up many nights. Let me tell you, Scott, one of my biggest shocks was when you sent the cover design. It's like, Annie, I want it at 5 to 6 to 5:55. I'm like, Scott, do you even know what that means? Of course he did. And I was like, damn. And so I had to turn to Jay and say, we have to make this work somehow. You see, here's something that no one knows. AI tools don't create exact times that you want. You see, you can't get 5 to 5. Where I had to work miracles with Jay to get 5:55. I can tell you how I've done it, but I'm not going to tell you. But it took hours, maybe half a day, to try and get a clock that was that time, and have it in the same round shape that would fit. God help us, right? But that was the hardest thing ever. But we live and learn. I love living and learn. I love overcoming challenges. So that was definitely a challenge I had to overcome. Let me stop talking. Mr. Calm, how are you doing today?
I'm doing quite all right, actually.
Are you at work?
Yes, I am. I'm not the first, I believe. I believe the others can go
No,
ahead
you
of
are.
me.
You are.
I
You're
can
first.
wait.
You're the first.
I can
Alexis
wait.
came after you. Mike came last. I'm
Let
very meticulous.
the others go
Okay.
ahead of me. I'd certainly appreciate the honor, and I'll remember it. That's for sure.
Excellent. Miss Alexis, our superstar editor, talk to us. How are you doing?
Hello. Oh, I'm doing fine this morning. Yes, I am, and I'm happy to be here. I'm really excited about Scott's book. From an editorial standpoint, it is extremely well written and comprehensive. and mostly due to Scott's abilities and his knowledge of the subject matter. So for me, not only was it was twofold. I learned a lot, and so that was great. And what is really great about his book and the experience, he walks you through his experiences. You feel the emotion, but also it's like step by step, emotionally what he felt, but what transpired. And then it's also a very practical guide. He has so much information in there. So when you have questions, they're answered. It is one of the most complete books on this subject. What do you do? What do you prepare for? Not only emotionally, but practically, legally. It just touches all the aspects. So I learned a lot, and it really helped me because I have been through this with both parents, a very dear friend, and a grandchild. And so reading this, working with this, and yes, I did. I read it and then I went through it. Really, really helped me, even though it was after the fact, because the dying process is always going to be there. And so we never know who the next person is. And so I really appreciate Scott and his efforts. And again, it was just a real pleasure and an honor to be the editor for this book. So thank you. Back to you, Annie.
Thank you, Alexis. Much love. Much love. Thank you.
There's so many books that Alexis will message me and say, "I love this book," and they probably only this book because many other books are work for us. It's beautifully written. It still has a book too. I have to be the editor as well. I'm like, yeah, of course. It worked on book one. And it is what you say, Alexis. It's comprehensive. I sometimes wish books weren't so comprehensive, but it's few pages. It's packed into a small number of pages, and everything's there.
Yes.
It's emotional. It's emotional stuff. And practical stuff. I think I could deal with, but the letter to your family and friends, for example, and things like that. I was like, I almost cried. Almost. Maybe there was a tear or two. Almost. No, but just saying that I had to tell myself that this is part of the process, and there's things I didn't know I had to plan for. And this is so the tools are there to make those plans. The tools, and it's all the way down to working out someone's real dreams, real passions. And that's how comprehensive the book is. Like I say, when you do what I do, you wish a book would stop. That way you can finish sooner. But Scott's I was like, okay, there's more to go. But it's all great stuff, and I think as Alexis is saying, there's no waffle in there. Everything is precise. It's rare we get that. When I write books, I still waffle because I like to waffle, right? We want more words, but Scott's book is pretty tight for what it is. Thank you, Alexis.
Sure.
Helping us get this far for sure, right? Alavine, welcome. How you doing? So all the way in the Indian Ocean, Reunion Island is where she lives.
Wow.
People think that's near India. No, it's next to South Africa. It's a wonderful island. Have a look at it. You can't swim in the sea. You might get eaten by a shark. Yeah, helpful. She made me look at the map. That's why I had to. I know what it is. Mr. Mike, talk to us. Not you, Michael. Mr. Mike, how are you doing?
I'm reflective. As Annie had mentioned, I recently lost a childhood friend, actually last week. So I don't believe in coincidences. And so I just wanted to share briefly, and it actually dovetails very, very closely with what Scott was saying. I wrote an article about the reflection of my friend's passing. So I'll just read an excerpt from that. When someone you love is battling cancer, it is easy to get lost in the future, in the what ifs and the fear of what's to come. But he taught me a valuable lesson: the importance of being present. In those moments we shared, we weren't just two people trying to navigate a terminal illness. We were still two kids watching birds, two friends sharing a laugh, two brothers sitting in comfortable silence. Being there for someone isn't always about grand gestures or profound words. Sometimes it's just about showing up. It's about sitting with them in their pain, sharing a cup of coffee, or telling a bad joke. My friend was a jokester. It's about listening more than you speak. It's a reminder that a simple act of kindness can make a world of difference. Losing him has been a painful experience. A constant reminder of the fragility of life. But it's also a reminder to cherish those moments we have with people we love. Don't wait for a special occasion to tell a friend how much they mean to you. Don't put off a visit because you're too busy. The greatest gift we can give someone is your time and your presence. We live in a world that is so fast-paced, where we're always rushing to the next thing. Take a moment to pause, to look up at the sky, to listen to the birds, and most importantly, be present with the people that matter. Most to you. Because in the end, that's all we have. The memories we made, the love we shared, and the comfort of knowing that we are truly there for each other. Thank you.
We thank you, my friend. We thank you. You know, it's go on, Scott. I'll let you speak, Scott.
Thank you, Mike. That was, yeah, I feel that genuinely. Thank you. And I'll take a moment there. So that was beautiful. That you just credit to you and your friend, and yeah, just massive respect there for coming and sharing on. Thank you so much for using this space today to share. And yeah, sending you lots of love, my friend. Sending you lots of love. Thank you.
I think that there's many things. I think Mike said many things that you got in your book as well, Scott. It's not about the big words and the big proclamations. It's just being present.
It is, yeah. Obviously, I talk about my experiences with my sister, particularly. That's the closest experience of death. I.e., we've had grandparents that die, and we talked about the life's design and plan, and that our grandparents should die, our parents should die, and inevitably we will die, and our children, if we have them. That's the expectation, the social norm. Call it what you will, but it still hurts. But when there's that's kind of unsettling, and watching my mum and dad having to say goodbye to their daughter was just a profound experience for me. It was something I'd never ever experienced at that level, and it shook me to my core at the time. And I was obviously coming through the back of 3 years of depression, potential suicide, and heavily medicated for antidepressants. So when my sister was dying and then ultimately died, I was also going through my own personal battles. So it was, but as Justin rightly said earlier, and as Mike so eloquently has written there, I used that as a catalyst to live, because I was dying. I wanted to be dead, but I felt I was dying. I wasn't living life. I wasn't embracing those moments. So after my sister's death, although it sounds weird, and like Justin rightly said, it wasn't a disrespect to my sister, but her death brought me back to life, because it made me realize that somebody had to care for the family, do the practical things. But ultimately, one of the most profound experiences with my sister was when we just sat in silence, and when I just held her hand. And I talk about that moment that all the words had been said. Everything that had to be said had been said. And now it was just that moment of just sitting there and just reflecting, listening to music, holding hands. But she knew and I knew that, fundamentally we were both present, and absolutely nothing mattered in that moment. And that's perfectly what Mike's just touched upon there. And it's just a beautiful thing, really. It's just like we said last time, there is no future. It doesn't exist. There is no past. That's purely a memory. It's just the now, and it's this millisecond, this microsecond that we live in as time is all we have. There is nothing else beyond or before that, and it's just about recognizing that. We do get caught up in the wheel of life and hamster wheel, and the expression in the UK, you know, just running and running and running, and unfortunately it takes something to derail us, like an event, like death or dying, that makes us reflect. And that poem is just beautiful, poetic. Mike, please just share that in the group or send it out, publish it, because that's beautiful. I would be saying I'll include that in the next edition of Before We Die, Part 2.
Scott, I just also want to express gratitude for this, the book taking a very practical approach for the preparation, because as you're going through the grief process, not for my friend, because that's, you know, something that is being taken care of elsewhere, but I also am dealing with my lovely mother-in-law and all the practical issues related to that. And when you don't do that, at least in the US, there's a lot of legal and you know, such complications. So I am very grateful to you for you know, publishing this. And there's also something about going through, it's gifting through your pain, so to speak. So
Yes.
that this book is a gift to others. And I think that's, I'm hoping you get a monetary remuneration for it, but I think just in doing that gifting to others, to maybe alleviate some of the pain that you've gone through on the practical side, is just an incredible gift to everybody, and I laud you for that, sir.
Thank you, Mike. Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Thank you. And Sharon Rose, I hear you. You know, so absolutely, Mike. So gratitude is the attitude. That's Sharon Rose's favorite saying, that is. And Alvin says, "You're right, Mike. Thanks for sharing." No, so your story, you know, your poem touched everyone's hearts, you know, Mike. That's the point. Sharon Rose says, "Was taken through the tears." Thanks for sharing that, Mike. Thank you so much, my friend. You're a superstar. Always. I'm always grateful when you join our stages. Let's look, and I'm going to circumvent everything and to let William speak, because I don't trust an African internet, number one. But also it's here. And, you know, Scott, if it's all right with you, I'll play the No Human is Useless promo video that we have.
Let's do it, yeah.
For us, right? William, should I play the video first, or do you want to speak? Speak first, just in case.
Yes, please.
Okay.
I just want to say a big shout out to Scott. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly, my friend, perfectly.
Big shout out to Scott. And yes, I'm still making some rounds for the event, but I had to jump on and say hi. And kudos to your book. I'm expecting an 8 times bestseller from this book. I you know, we've had some one-on-one, and I know your story. Reason why I want you on in Ghana on a big stage. So kudos to you with what you're doing for humanity. And I just want to say I'm behind you, you know, all-hearted. No human is useless is behind you. So take care, the man in the mirror. And I just want you to know that I'm supporting you 100%. And I can't wait to see you guys in Ghana soon. Thank you.
Me say there.
You know more Ghanaian than the woman with language than I do. This is William's book, No Human is Useless. And yes, I have actually read it. And I realized, you know, yes, you know, it's a 9-time international bestseller. So I want to know, I don't know, no pressure, William, that, you know, I promise my clients, my friends, 1 bestseller, but I always aim to get more, because we tend to work in US, UK, Canada, and Australia, English-speaking countries. So that's where I will tend to be begging my friends, please buy the book. If you live in those places and can shop in the Amazon stores there, please buy the book on launch day, right? For sure, we need your help. William, we're coming, my friend. We're coming. It feels so close. I'm less than a week now, Scott. And
We'll be on the, yes, we'll already be on the way now next week. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'll be there a couple of hours from now, so I mean 6:40. I'm getting there. No fear. 2,500 people. Let me show you William's video. That way, you understand what No Human Issues is all about. Here goes, my friends.
Are you ready, Ghana? Are you listening? Are you confused about your purpose, feeling lost, weighed down by life, and tired of pretending everything is okay? Do you feel like depression is winning and running out of strength? Then I want to invite you to something that could change your life totally. The No Human is Useless Conference 2025. William Planch has been there.
He looked like he was fine, but inside, he was dying, jobless, mocked by friends, smiling on the outside while every night he battled the thought that maybe life had no more space for him. People looked down on him, whispered that he would never become anything, and when the pain grew too loud, he made a choice that would change everything. He left the city, hoping the forest would hide his tears. There, alone with his brokenness, he found something no one could take away: his purpose. From the shadows of depression, William Plange built a movement that has now touched lives across the world. A 9 times international bestseller, winner of the Caribbean Global Awards, a voice for the hopeless.
In that silence, he found peace, he found purpose, and he found power. Now he's back stronger, clearer, and ready to help you do same. Join us for the No Human is Useless Conference 2025. 25th September, Sunday, 2 p.m. sharp. Venue at the ICGC Zue Temple, Tema Community Park. This is not just another conference. This is your moment, your healing, your clarity, your comeback story. Because no matter what you have been through, no human is useless.
No human is useless, I know. Through the darkness.
There.
Yeah. No nerves. No, William, I'm excited more than nervous. I'm sure I should be nervous, but I'm excited, and the chance to talk to 2,500 people. I don't know if it's going to be a once in a lifetime thing, right? But well done, you, my friend. And your book is amazing. I get many books, my friends. I don't read all of them until I'm ready, but I do read them in the end. I have to read them, right? I read yours, and it's funny how your story is exactly what I'm coming to share with the kids. It really is. I didn't have, when I was planning what I'm going to say, and living your dreams, I didn't have a clue what was in your book. I thought it was just a story of overcoming the hard times. But that's why you're gonna be my example. Look, my friends who are here, you can buy tickets. There was a QR code on top of that video. You can buy tickets to join us remotely. And nothing would delight us more than to have you joining us and supporting us, of course. Giving us a round of applause. For when we do get on stage and share, because I'm sure it'll be a nerve-wracking experience. I think tickets are $10 thereabouts, right? So do join us and be part of the show. An international conference. That's what I want to say. William, if you want to say anything, Scott, if you want to say anything, then feel free.
Yeah, I just want to say that I want everybody listening to support Scott by making that purchase of his book. Let's get him a best-selling author, and that would be like a blessing to me. Okay, and Annie and Scott, I have a big surprise for you when you come to Ghana. So watch out for it.
I'm scared. Go on, Scott. Please feel free.
Thank you, William. That was fantastic. No, I appreciate that. Well, hopefully, our passports will return in time with our visas. So we're still waiting on the inevitables. So
they should do. Did you get a call? I mean, you got an email, right?
I've had an email to say they're due on the 17th, so 2 days before I fly.
I think mine's is 16th. You know, they
Yeah.
had a problem that they mixed up my application, my son's application.
Yes.
They missed that passport stuff, and they were like, "No, he's going by himself." I'm like, "No, he's not. I'm going with him. If I don't go, what's the point, right?" But they worked themselves out. So 16th, hopefully, it will come because we've got next day.
Well, I'm a believer in the universe. I think there was probably a time where Annie perhaps thought, sorry, William and yourself, Annie, maybe thought, I'm not going to this conference. There was lots of preparation and vaccines and filling in forms and preparing things. And obviously back at home, there's childcare and life that continue. But just something when William and I first met and we shared that first ever Zoom together, we just clicked. There was just something there. And I remember at the end saying, I'd love to help you with your cause. Anywhere I can do, you know, I've dealt with event management, conferences, anything I can do to help you. And then after shared my story, he said, I'd love you to stand on the stage with me one day, my friend. And I was like, that would be a blessing. Little did I know it would ever be in Ghana, but for me, it's supporting his cause, supporting the No Human is Useless conference and William's mission to, you know, overcome depression, change people's lives and help young people is just something I couldn't not help with because of the millions and millions of people here, certainly in the UK, let alone around the world, who are, you know, diagnosed with depression or they talk about self-harm, and it just absolutely breaks my heart. Having two children myself at 15 and 12, the world is just a very different place now to how we were brought up in it. For many of us, depending on how old you are, but yeah, I just felt the calling to help William, and in return, that led to having to get the book ready. The book has led for us today. I want to affect. My mission ultimately is to impact 1 million lives around the world in a positive way, and I'm on that onward journey. And a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one single step. And William, yourself, and others, everyone here, you're all part of that. So for that, I thank you, and I feel blessed, and I'm genuinely grateful. So thank you.
I thank you, Scott. And I said, now, there was a day I was sitting, well, let's go back to February. William said, "You're coming to Ghana." I'm like, no. I got scared. I was, you know, and I want to speak on stages. I just got scared. I was like, no, real people on the stage? No, I'm not coming. When he asked again in June, I'd got through my fear. So I was like, yeah, I'll come. And then I was sitting peaceably, minding my own business. Scott's like, do you know what it means to get a visa to go Ghana? I'm like, visa? What are we talking about? I had no idea. He's like, you have to get a visa. You have to do all these different things. I'm like, oh, goodness me. You know, get vaccinations, get this. And so I was like, oh. You know, so it's been a process, Scott. It definitely has been. But no, you helped me to realize that there was a process to go through. Otherwise, I'd have waited till now and then start trying to sort myself out. You know, so I've had to have injections and all sorts. You know, it's a crazy thing. Yeah. But no, we're coming, William. We're ready. We're ready, my friend. You know, we're definitely coming. So I think I got travel insurance yesterday. My wife got it anyway. So
be prepared. Be prepared.
Nothing ever goes wrong, so let's keep it that way, right? You know, thank you so much, William. So I'm excited. I can't wait. And Scott, you know, it'd be great. Right?
I got a question for Annie.
For me, yes. I rarely answer questions.
You
go on,
rarely
Carl. What's your question?
Yes, you do. You answer questions. You're a very good question answerer. And it's not hard. It's not a very hard question.
Go. What's the question then?
What's it like to be poked with a fork compared to be poked with a vaccination?
I've been poked with both, amazingly. You know, so I can answer that one. So I got in between two friends of mine who were fighting, boyfriend girlfriend, years ago, and I'm trying to separate them from fighting, and I got poked in the bum with a fork. So I know how that feels. You know, the injection thing. I've been a scaredy pants about injections for years. Because I grew up in Nigeria, right, in a hospital. My granddad owned the hospitals, and in those days, when you got ill, everyone just had to keep jabbing you 3 times a day. I'm like, I hate injections. Injections are fine if a good person takes them. Gives you the
Was the injection also in the bum?
Everywhere. I was terrorized as a kid with injections. Like literally, I would run around, literally like Usain Bolt. I would sprint away and they had to catch me, and they would always catch me in the end. It's like, damn, here we go again. Oh, anyway, so I grew up as an adult traumatized by injections. No, so but I'm getting over it. I think COVID made me realize just get over it, because I had 2 injections, and I had to literally drag myself to the place willingly to get jabbed, right? And I survived. I think one I barely felt. So I was like, okay, this is possible. So the one I gave us an injection the other day, credit to Boots in Fradham. You don't know where that is, but they will know who they are, right? So the lady, she was superb. My son and I were nervous, but you can feel the prick going in. I just have to survive that moment, not to move, not to run. But I think that once I survive that initial injection piece in my skin, it's fine. It's fine. It took 3 seconds, if that. In, done, out. I'm like, yeah, brilliant, perfect, another good one. So hopefully next time I won't be scared. Next time I'll be confident. I'll be a big boy and not cry like a baby and not run around the room in a superstore. There were doctors saying.
I was
only
shaking
assume
when I
that the
took
next
mine.
time you'll be you'll take your son with you to hold your hand.
My son was there to hold my hand, but he was more nervous than me because again he's had bad injections. If you have a bad injection, Michael, then I think it torments you, right? He had one that they were scraping his bones, and he was like, "Oh, that just horrible. I hate injections." So as we sat in this woman's room in the side of Boots, she said, "He's going first." I'm like, "No, I want to go first because I'm more nervous than him." She's like, "No, he's more nervous than you." And if he goes after, if you go first, he might say no. So I had to let him go first. And again, perfectly fine. We both walked out smiling, which we didn't think that was going to happen. We thought we were going to be in pain. But injections are what they are. They're part of the course, right? And needles are much smaller these days than they used to be. I think they're much smaller. When I was a kid, there were that size of needles. You're like, damn, what's that for? But I've had dental injections, and dentist injections are the worst, right? Huge needles, jabbing it around your mouth, moving it around left and right. No, but when you got toothache, I'll do anything to get rid of toothache. So, doctor, this in modern injections I can take. Apparently, I'll take it. Anyway, look, let's come back to our conversation. If I've answered your question, Michael. If
I may jump in, sorry, Annie. Justin's having to leave now, so I just wanted to wish him well and say thank you for joining us. And if people can send him some love, and Justin and I will be doing some UK events around the touring in the UK, a few events around mental health, suicide, depression, wellness. We're running some retreats, so Justin's leaving us now. So I just wanted to say thank you for joining us, and obviously have a fantastic weekend, my friend, and I appreciate you.
Yeah,
thank you. I've enjoyed it. Take care, guys. Lots of love to you all.
Look, Justin, maybe make a comment that way we can connect with you, because that way your name is on our list in the comment section that people can connect with you.
I don't know how to do that. That's why I messaged Scott. I said I don't know how to send a message.
We'll put your profile.
I think I am linked with Scott on LinkedIn, but I'll be honest, guys, I don't use LinkedIn very much. Scott will tell you I hate social medias and
but you've seen today, Justin. Social media has changed. This is a new social media. It's a video talking platform where you can be your real self, not just waffling and doing funny posts, right? Hopefully you come back and join us again, sometime, right?
I'm going to grace you with my presence on the 17th.
Thank you.
When I'm not as hungover though, because it's my birthday on the 16th, so
we'll sing to you.
I won't be on at 8 o'clock. That's for certain.
we'll leave that bit alone. We'll leave enjoy your birthday for sure. And then as long as you buy the book on the day, I'll take it. Go on, Scott.
Annie,
much love to you all.
Annie, today is my birthday.
Is it? Oh, happy birthday! Happy birthday to you. 1 year younger is what I always say. I didn't know that. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
I have to put you on big screen so we can see your wonderful kid. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, I get to meet you in real life. No, you're on the book, by the way.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, thank you for joining us, Justin. You're a star, my friend. Thank you so much. Okay, so I want to get back to the topic. So I guess let me go through now. So let me show Alavin's comments, which will help us get back on track, I'm sure. William, I'll call you later, to celebrate your birthday with you, my friend. And then we can go to Sam and Calm to share their thoughts on the emotional aspect. And we'll come back to you, Scott, to give us the tips you want to give us today, my friend. All right. Alavin says, I helped my father through this path. It was frightening and exhilarating at the same time. At the end, it was like he was sleeping instead of just passed away. Yes, condolences to you, Alavin. That's why I say for sure, right? It's a hard time. Scott, what do you think?
Well, thank you for your comments, and thank you for sharing. I appreciate you, Aveline. It's true. It's about being present. It's about that experience. As I said, for everyone, it's very different. You'll go through the whole gamut of emotions, perhaps some emotions that you've never even experienced before. Anger, fear, love, sadness, depression, frustration, denial. There's lots and lots of things that will happen to you and through you. And that's what they say, life happens through us, not to us. But for me, it's about the biggest thing from my sister's death was probably gratitude. And as I've said earlier, that's kind of a bizarre thing to suggest that why would you be grateful that someone has died? And it isn't that I'm grateful for they've died. It's the fact I couldn't have prevented it. I wasn't the doctor. I couldn't cure cancer. I couldn't take away her pain. What was happening, regardless of me, my love, energy. Steve Jobs, we mentioned last week, one of potentially the richest men in the world at the time, with all the money in the world, he said he would give it all away tomorrow for one more day of life. And that just really resonated with me from how Steve lived his life in the latter years of just having changed millions of people's lives through his work, to then say that all that money that you would change it. And that's why I talk about, it's not about the money. It's about helping millions of people or thousands of people, or do you know what? Just one person. If I can help just one person through this book to enable them not to suffer, or maybe have some practical things of, I never thought about that, I didn't realize about that, which Mike mentioned earlier, then my work is done, really. So yes, and I think fundamentally just let it be. Just let it be. Don't overthink. If you are facing someone's death or your own mortality, then please just let it be. You just sit with it and understand that what's happening is happening. It couldn't have happened any other way. Why? Because it didn't, and it won't. So just understand that it is what it is, and just be at peace with it and the moment. And if you can't change something, then do the best possible thing you can in terms of the situation. And for me, it's about finding gratitude. And once you start there, then the world just becomes generally a better place.
I agree, my friend. Again, Sharon Rose said that beautifully. She always says gratitude is the attitude, and it is. Yeah. And it's a blessing. But I think it brings the focus back to the importance of living. It's what we do when we're living, when our relative, our friend is living, more than what we do after they die, right?
Yes.
And I think you mentioned earlier kindness, compassion, and just learning to be present. So being doing the right things, and the right things is not grand gestures, as we've said many times today. It's just being yourself and being in the moment, with the person you're with.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. It gets emotional. So let's talk to Sam. Now, Sam, what's your take on emotional preparations before we die?
Yeah, it definitely is a tough one. It's funny because I think the first thing is, you need community throughout the process. So whenever I feel depressed or down, I go and I interact with the locals here in Mexico, and it gives me a new sense of life. from a personal perspective. Obviously I'm not dying, but I think that somebody mentioned it earlier. We get lost in our heads a lot of times, and once we really start to talk, and also when we have gratitude, it starts to help us with that. So I'd say really when it comes to emotional range from you die, well, first of all, you don't really know when you're going to die. Like a good example is that the politic guy, I think his name was Charlie. He's like
Charlie.
31 years old. I'm only 29. He didn't think he was going to die. Rest in peace. So it's like at the end of the day, you don't know when you're going to die. So you do have to arrange and set up for the unpredictable, right? Once you have, like in the case of his sister, um, Scott's sister, when you know that you're going to die and you have a timeline, well, now you have 6 months to spend with your family, and it's a horrible experience, but at least you have that 6 months to really realize what's important. I think that we get lost in the minutia of life. We're all different ages. I'm probably the youngest one. I'm at the tail end of my 20s, and I'm so young, but even I look at life differently. And I look back at like, wow, my 20s, not even realizing that I have a whole 30 to live, if I'm lucky, and a whole 40 to live if I'm lucky. And it's like,
30, 40, you're literally 100, my friend.
exactly.
You got 70 more years to go.
Yeah.
Good luck with
it. So it's like, finding the joy in that, knowing like, Scott said something really valuable, because people my age, we chase money. We all want money, 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 money. And he mentioned that Steve Jobs would sell it all tomorrow if he could have one day of life. And you look at these countries, whether in Suriname or Mexico or in Africa, there's so much joy in Africa, the continent, even in South America, the continent. You don't see a high amount of suicide. You probably do, but not at the same level as in the States or in the global West. And I think it's because we've lost that joy of life. So I think at the end of the day, that's what it boils down to. It boils down to finding joy in the little things and finding gratitude, because there's always somebody that has less than us, but we tend to look at the one that has more than us all the time. So, I think that's really what I'm learning from from now this second live that Scott has done. That's really changed my life and actually made me think about writing a book myself, because you know there's so much that I get from his story, and like Mike said, comparison is the joy stealer, and I think that's probably why there's such a high disconnect and offing rate amongst Gen Z and even millennial, is that it's like, oh, I'm not rich, screw the millionaires, all the billionaires are horrible. They, da 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 da. And that's again comparison. Same thing with Gen Z. Oh, I'm not a YouTuber, I'm not an influencer, I don't have this many followers, and it's like we get lost in the fact that the joy is in the grind. It's in the little things. It's in family. It's in that laugh that you had with your buddy. It's in that little stuff that we forget. Somebody asked me yesterday. They said, "What is your favorite moment?" And I couldn't think of one because I was so entrapped in I got to make money. I got to grow my business. Da 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 da. Instead of looking back, oh, definitely, Mike, social media really is a cancer, and it is a mind virus. But instead of looking back and saying, man, I have a lot of great memories. I'm so blessed. A lot of people my age didn't grow up with two parents. I had two parents. They didn't grow up with a house. Some people live in apartments, and just all the things that my parents have done for me and that I've had in my life. I mean, I've lived a really, really blessed. I mean, I went to private school. I don't have any student loans because my parents paid for my college. Like, it just, but we lose sight of all that and we think, oh, well, the future, and we lose sight of all the good things from the past So, long story short, that is how I would say we can, have emotional arrangements for if we are given 6 months or a year to live, or if, we reach our demise like Charlie Kirk and we didn't even think about it. But we still find that joy in life.
My friend.
Love that. Thanks, Samuel. Appreciate that. Thank you, Samuel. Beautiful.
No, well said, my friend. It's it's a present, and the present is part of our preparations. For the emotional side, it's about living, like you say, the small things make the big things, right? Comparison is a killer indeed. Mike, I'll come to you. So I'd love for you to. I don't know whether you want to explain or talk about your comments. Otherwise, I could just talk about it, and. So Alavin says, I too was grateful for his death, because he got free. Thank you. It was years ago, but I'm still grieving. So strange due to the fact that I'd helped him and agreed to stop the breathing machines as well. It's there's moments, in supporting people who are going, right, Scott?
Absolutely. And I think just Arlevine there, when you say I'm still grieving, that's okay. It's understanding that process. So again, in the book, I talk about the 5 steps, the processes, the start points. I love that. And it's just about understanding where you are. And I think the key element I teach all of my clients is awareness. And my job as Scott Stewart, Man in the Mirror, just in being one example, he's now left us, but all I did was show him the mirror. He talked to me about his relationships. He said he was self-sabotaging. He talked about his father, how he'd gone out and run, the London Marathon in sort of homage to his father and memory of him, and felt nothing at the end. He just said the journey didn't give him what he needed, what he wanted. So I just spent time showing him the mirror, and we broke that all back down. And then he now is the man himself of who he is today. And it's similar with Arlevine, is just understanding the process of where you are, or knowing those 5 steps of grief. It's called the Dabdar model. If you're not familiar with it, it's at least a Kubler-Ross model. Please have a look at it. But it's very famous. But it's certainly worth looking at to give that awareness really more than anything. Because when you have that, you can think, right, I'm here. It's okay being sad, or it's okay being angry. Yeah, it's okay being in denial and not understanding what's happened or happening. But I do understand that actually what will come next, like a wave, if we think about the sea, sometimes it's very calm and all is well and it's peaceful, where sometimes it's obviously quite choppy and rough and we wouldn't venture there, where other times, we're talking tsunami type level, and and that's like grief. Grief is exactly like a wave. And sometimes it comes at us and through us very unexpectedly. It could be a song, a smell, a memory, driving somewhere. You can arrive at a place and just that will just hit you. And it's so powerful. But it's then having the awareness to be able to manage that and obviously self-regulate and deal with that and say, find gratitude, find peace, and then move forward. But just give a nod or a wink to the person who's no longer with you, and recognize that that's, again, just the universe sending you some signs to remember who they were, but also live. You have to live. That's why people die, because that pain, that trauma, again, what Sam mentioned, when you're in your 20s and your 30s, it's, making the dollar, making the money. But when you have that moment of realization of stop and have a best life, it's about living life and just being able to find joy and happiness and peace in the smallest of things, really. So, yeah, but Arlevine, if you want to reach out, please do. I'm more than happy to speak, but there's some very well qualified people in here. I can already see that. So thank you.
You're the star. Look, I love that book placement. Can you see it, Scott? That's what I'm looking at. I can see the book placement. Your book is perfectly placed in the screen, in the corner. Now, don't touch it. Because now everyone who talks, everyone who comments, the head goes on the front of the book. I love that. So I don't know how you got that right. You say there's no coincidences. That's one of those, right?
Yeah.
I think Mike's saying what you're saying is allow yourself to time to grieve, right? It will crop up on you when you least expect it.
Yeah.
A few minutes ago as well. So
absolutely,
Mike. So Mike, I don't know whether you want to talk about this. Live in the moment, pour our hearts out into those, with us in the moment. We won't have regrets, even if our lives are unexpectedly cut short. You're saying, live in the present, live in the now. In the end, nothing matters, right?
No.
Nothing matters, especially if we don't get to see tomorrow. We can have a conversation about tomorrow sometime, right?
Yeah.
And
tomorrow will be now. That's the irony. Anyway, we said last week, tomorrow is the now, because tomorrow will never come. When we're in tomorrow, we're in the now, and there is no future, there is no past, as I've said, and it's a very powerful thing to remember that, because you can only live in the now. I follow a chap called Bashar, if anyone's ever heard of him, but I love the simplicity of how he lives his life. And it's just about living in the now. When people say to him, what time is it? He says, it's now. Because we make time relative to things and events. Now, obviously, yes, we have planes to catch, trains to catch, meetings to attend. But actually, what time is it? The time is now. There is no other time, and there will never be any other time. And that's kind of deep when you think about it. But the reality is, it's very true. And the simplicity of life is, there is no tomorrow. Nobody is guaranteed a tomorrow. And if we live life today and in this moment, if you go home, tell your partner you love them, hug your kids, tell them you're proud of them. And yeah, sometimes it's a bit uncomfortable, but guess what? Get comfortable being uncomfortable. If that was your last moment, those were your last words. You touched on Charlie Kirk, the chap who was obviously very sadly killed this week, and it's making news around the world. I understand that his daughter and his wife were there in those moments. And that for me just really shook. I'm not really interested in the visual content and what happened. It's more about what he leaves behind, his legacy, both to the world, but mainly to his family and his beautiful daughters and his wife. And it's not about being morbid. It's just about, what do you want to leave as your legacy? How do you want to be remembered? And that's probably the most powerful message my sister brought me and taught me, because she absolutely lived her life. And for that, I'll always be grateful.
Yeah, for sure.
And Scott, that was one of the many things that I learned, I had about a year to spend with my childhood friend, reconnecting. We had been estranged for 20 odd years. And as I mentioned in the piece, that we didn't need to do anything more than just pour our hearts out to each other in the present. And that is so, if you can wrap your mind around it, because I think we've been kind of sold some lies. We've been sold some lies about scarcity and abundance. We've been sold some lies about what is valuable and what isn't. And you can see very wealthy people that are miserable. So there is something more to this world and this life than a dollar. And I'm not taking anything away from people that obviously we need something to keep our roof over our heads and food on the table and such. But I don't think there's anything more important than being present for another. And to your point, it is in the now, and there's nothing more than in the now. And that's why I think it's so important. One of the things I'm just going to mention kind of as a man, because I think sometimes we don't do it enough, is we don't express how much we treasure that other man. I think we may do it with women, and women, I think, maybe do it a little more often with other women, but I think men don't do it enough. And that's something I'm trying to work with, here on LinkedIn and other places, is really kind of express how much that person means to you in the present. Don't wait. And I actually had a chance to do that with my childhood friend. I said, look, I don't really care if I embarrass you. I want to express in this moment how much you meant to me back, early on in our childhood, because you really meant something. You made my darkness a little lighter. And you that friendship back then meant a hell of a lot. And I think we need to do that more often. So anyway, that's what I got.
Yeah. Agreed, 100%. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, totally agree.
You know, I think one of the points you mentioned was reconciling, Scott, in the book. Now, before I come to that in a second, I want to welcome a real superstar. You know, so Mel, how you doing? Thanks for joining us. Mel talks to us about trust, you know, being visible, but building trust and using trust as a secret weapon. Now, I think she messaged me the other day, Scott. I mean, she had a third funeral in 3 days, or third funeral in 9 days, something like that.
Wow.
And I was like, Mel, I'm staying away from you. You sound like Miss Marple. Whenever that crazy woman turns up, someone dies, right? I don't want to be part of that party. So, you know, but no, Mel, you know, you're very supportive of everyone. Of course you are. And I'm glad you're here. Of course, you get the Kubler-Ross model as well. Like, we're grateful for you joining us, Mel. And she says, you know, Mike, you know, definitely create space for grief with self-compassion. And take great care now of us and of the people that we're supporting, right? You know, so Mike, I will play your song before we go. So, you know, there's 4 minutes of a song that Mike created. I think, you know, is the one for, you know, that like I just talked about, which is, you know, acknowledging in memory of our dear friends, right? In memory of my dear friends, what it says. Okay, I'll get to that in good time, Mike. So I'll let Scott speak a bit more, and then we're going to call it a day, my friends. Look, please do join us. Do join us for this book launch. You know, it means the world to me. Of course, it means the world to Scott as well, and it means the world to the people who can benefit from this book. You know, that's why we're doing what we're doing. You know, I'll make Scott a bestseller with your help. So just join us on Wednesday. Connect with Scott in the meantime. You know, Scott is quite open to conversations. You know, so you know, say LinkedIn works when we have conversations with each other. We actually get to know who each other are, right? Yeah. So don't be shy. Let's not just connect and then run. And worse still, let's not just come to events and then not connect. Let's become a community of people. That's what we are. Scott, I'll give you the mic, my friend.
Thank you, Annie. Appreciate that. Thank you, everyone, for attending today. I really do appreciate it. As we said, the book launch is on the 17th, which is only next Wednesday, just prior to us off to Ghana to spread our message of love and help make the world a better place, really, and change lives one reflection at a time, as I love to say. So I'd just like to, before we end, read another excerpt from my book, if I may. And it's
please go for it. It's your show, my friend. It's your show.
Yeah, love to share. So it's so many things have been discussed today, but one story I like to share is that my sister, who obviously I've mentioned and is an integral part of my story, her motto was because life's too short, ... live it. And I've shared it in the chat there. I believe she even had a tattoo of that particular thing on her, because she just lived life to the full. So it will resonate in the book when you understand that, but it is about living. So chapter 7 I'd like to share with you, and it says, a life well lived, a death well prepared. When we look back on a life, what truly stands out are not the grand achievements or the material possessions we accumulate, but the relationships we nurture, the love we give, and the kindness we extend to others. These are the elements that give life meaning, that bind us together, and that shape the legacy we leave behind. As we prepare for the inevitable end of our journey, it is this very sense of connection that becomes our most valuable guide. In preparing for death, we offer those we love a gift, the tools they need to navigate life without us, while also honoring the memory of our shared moments together. It's easy to get caught up in the rush of daily life, focused on tasks, responsibilities, and worries that often obscure the bigger picture. But when we are faced with the reality of our mortality, those distractions simply fade away, and what remains are the people we love, the choices we've made, and the way we've treated others. In preparing for death, we aren't just thinking about ourselves or the immediate practicalities of what needs to be done. We are also creating an opportunity for our loved ones to find closure, healing, and comfort after we're gone. By sharing our wishes, thoughts, and feelings openly, we ease the burden on those left behind, helping them to find meaning in our passing rather than confusion or regret. But beyond the preparations and the to-do lists, there is a deeper layer to the work, the invitation to live fully, to live with a sense of purpose, with kindness, with awareness that each moment is precious and fleeting. Every conversation, every shared laugh, every act of compassion is a thread woven into the tapestry of our lives. When we live with this awareness, death itself becomes less of a fearful end and more of a natural transition, a passage we can face with grace, strength, and love. As you come to terms with the reality of your own mortality, and as you reflect on the lives of those you love, I encourage you to embrace life with a renewed commitment and presence. The end of life will come to us all, but it is the way we live in the meantime that defines the richness of our journey. When the time comes for you to say goodbye, may you do so with a sense of peace, knowing that you've lived in accordance with your values and that you've given others the opportunity to honor and cherish the life you shared. May you face your final days and the final days of those you hold dear with the same grace and strength that you have carried through every moment before. And above all, may love be the thread that runs through every chapter of your life, before, during, and after, because life's too short. ... Live it.
Superb. Thank you so much, my friend. Again, as you're talking, all I can hear is an audiobook voice. So I guess it's funny how I guess when you're reading, you don't have an accent. So that's what makes an great audiobook voice, by the way.
Right. Okay.
I'm just telling people. And clearly, you know your book inside out. Of course you do, right? Look, and I thank you so much. I'd say, of course, I mean, people can hear the simplicity of the book. Simplicity yet, touching yet, it's full of emotion and full of reality. I will say this, Scott. You're gonna have to find another section to read on book launch day, and not read everything to them, right?
Yeah, there's plenty there. There's plenty there.
I'm just trying to scare you, but literally, good on you. That's like you say, we can't give everything away. We're not going to give everything away because we can't. There's too much in the book for us to be giving everything away. Mel, so it was a joy to pop into your feed and your YouTube videos and your LinkedIn videos as you do, right? And divine timing indeed. So Mel, I tell you, now not another one. Mel's preparing for another internment tomorrow, plus seeing Pop's new memorial this weekend. I don't know, Mel. I don't know how you do it. You're a trooper, and I say, touch wood, it stays that way. I haven't had many funerals since I was a kid. I've had one, maybe a couple. There comes a time when suddenly there's many funerals because as we get older, I think, Scott, suddenly you get to know people who are dying, right? And anyway, we must deal with that. This book is a good tool, it's a good resource, as Alexa says, it's a good guide, to really help you to navigate the process. But it's about supporting the person, like I say, who is dying whilst they're alive, and supporting those who are alive. That's what this book's really about. Scott, thank you so much. Everyone on the studio, thank you so much. Alexis, if you wanna have another word, if you say, maybe I'll give Mike the chance as well, and Samuel, if you wanna have another word before we go, please feel free.
Oh, sure I do. Again, this is a great book. Scott did a fantastic job of conveying the emotions through the process and the practicalities. And it was a pleasure and an honor to work with him and read his book. And also, just a word to everyone, if you haven't gone through this process, it's a good book to read. And it has things in the back, and the appendix and part of the book tells you how to prepare. It walks you through not just the emotion and what's going to happen, but what are the necessary steps with documents, legalities, and things that will make it easier for those left behind. So again, it was a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, Scott.
Thanks, Alexis. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're on mute, Annie.
I'll have to talk to myself, right? Now, Mike, anything you want to say before we go?
Yes, I want to express gratitude for everyone that has appeared up on stage, including Justin, who's not here at the moment. Annie, you for holding these shows, for honoring the authors, for bringing these very important subjects that the authors are creating books for, is just so important. So I thank you. I thank Scott, obviously, for creating this book. I look forward to reading it, particularly the parts about the practical preparation, because I think that's so important. Like I mentioned, I've been part of several scenarios where there was complications that maybe could have been alleviated by doing proper preparation. Alexis, thank you so much for being the editor for this book. Samuel, it was awesome to hear what you had to say. And again, Annie, thank you for allowing me to share this. It's actually a beautiful process. It's painful. It's beautiful. I've learned, but it was a reminder for me, because I got to see my friend's children actually at his funeral express what they meant to him. That was very, very meaningful to me, and it's something that I knew it was his character, but to see it reflected through his children was very meaningful. So again, thank you for allowing me to appear on stage.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you.
Seriously, thank you, Mike. I think you captured the emotion, our feeling perfectly, Mel. Just thanks for your deep insights and your shares, Mike. So thank you so much, my friend. You're a star. I'm always grateful when you join our stage, because you do add those deep insights every time. So thank you. We'll learn from you. We always learn from you. So Samuel, of course, and the music as well. Mike, so I've listened to the song whilst people have been talking, so I know it's a beautiful song. Just give us a couple of minutes and we'll get to it, my friend. You get to hear it yourself. Sam, anything you want to say before we go? Okay, maybe not. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's perfectly fine, Sam. You're here, so we appreciate you, and great shares, Mike said earlier, right? Mel, I hear you. It's a great advice. And Nana said, pray and keep on moving. They're following her legacy and trying to keep out of the turtle shell to step into the light. I like that. Keep out of the turtle shell, Mel. Keep out of the turtle shell. There's no light in there, right? No one sees, the goodness that you have, that you are. My friend, thank you so much for everything. Scott, thank you as well, of course. You're the star of the show. Anything that's good about me and these shows, it's thanks to you, my friends, who make it happen. Without Scott's book, we won't be here. Without your shares, it won't be as entertaining and educational. Alexis, thank you as well. My superstar friend, thank you so much. Okay, right. So don't forget to join us on Wednesday, the 17th. I think was it 4 o'clock thereabouts, something like that, right? About the same time.
Yeah, there'll be things throughout the day. I think we said any, but I think we're looking at. You've caught me now.
So I haven't looked. I mean, it's turning my YouTube off, so I'll leave that where alone.
Yeah, I think we said we'll do throughout the day, but yes, we'll 4 p.m.
Yeah, and all you have to do, my friends, is buy the ebook. There's no point paying over the odds for the ebook. Say 99 cents, 77 pence. It doesn't get much cheaper than that, because that's what Amazon says, right? So hopefully, you will join us, you will support us, and share with your friends as well. If you can't join us on the 17th, yes, I'll do my best to email or to DM the link to you. The other way to do this is to connect with Scott and send him your email addresses.
Mhm.
I guess if I haven't got if I have your email address, I will probably email you anyway, because not many know my process, right? So from tomorrow, we'll start sending out the emails to Scott's mailing list. So I will tend to send 5 emails in the lead up to any book launch. So by Tuesday's email to T-1, I think that's what it is, I'll add my mailing list to Scott's mailing list. So if I've got your email, you get the emails, and then you can essentially buy the book at the right time on Wednesday. Otherwise, if I haven't got your email list, if I haven't got you on my email list, please send me your email in a DM. Don't put it in the comments, unless you want the whole world to email you with their spammy stuff. We only send emails about book launches. So, if you want to make sure that you get the link at the right time, and also know what's going on, what our plan is for the day, then give us your email address. No, Mel, don't buy the book, Mel. Don't buy the book today. Don't do it, Mel. Don't do it. Buy it on Wednesday, please. If you buy the book today, I'm so glad. This is divine timing, Mel. If you buy the book today, it doesn't count towards our bestseller. I need every purchase to count towards a bestseller. That's why you must buy it on Wednesday. Wednesday only counts. Nothing else counts. If you buy it before, no, it does no good, and you're paying over the odds. I think it's £13.33 as we speak. Right, Scott?
$49.99 is the paper book.
The print book, yeah, $49.99. So don't buy the print book for sure, unless you're crazy.
No.
I'm sure Scott will donate the money to charity. If you don't buy the print book, then wait till Wednesday, please. Wait till Wednesday. If I can beg you enough, only Wednesday counts, and it means we want Scott to be a bestseller. That means every purchase on the day counts. You have to know what bestseller is. Bestseller simply means we sell more books in the categories that the book is in that 24-hour period. That's why I'm begging you, don't buy the book today. But that's Annie's craziness, right? The bestseller is that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking about now. That's what I'm working towards, Scott. I kind of get really obsessed, but you see me tomorrow. Say we'll talk tomorrow to set up to create the email and set up the room for next week, and then you see how crazy I really am, because I'm kind of. Well, if I guarantee you a bestseller, then that means I have to do everything that I have to do, right? I've never failed. And I say, my worst one was someone who got 5 bestsellers in the US. Because it was international, I still beat myself up. We'll make an international bestseller, Scott. Thanks, Mel. Yes, Mel. Love you, Mel. See, you're the best. See, that's what I like to see. Wait until Wednesday. Yes, Mel. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Everyone who's been with us, thank you so much. So I'm gonna play Scott's Mike's song to his dear friend. So we're gonna end with that. Liana, you're a star. Always great to have you in our rooms. Right. So I have a room next about positivity. We're talking about how to manage your time with positivity. And then my room after that is how to add humor to your technical presentations, how to be funny without being a comedian and without being laughed at. I'm sure you can see why I'm doing that, Scott, right?
Yes.
So it's all about Ghana. I want to add in a few jokes in there. My jokes always fall flat, always. So I need to change that. So I'm getting some help from Elaine Jackson. She teaches presentation skills.
I look forward to seeing it in Ghana. Yeah,
well, you see whether it works or not, right?
Yes.
It's only 2 or 3 jokes I want to tell. I don't want to say I'm not a comedian. I'm not going to start with a joke and end with a joke. I'm going to just, it's about telling stories, right?
All about storytelling.
My friends, do enjoy your Friday. Hopefully I'll see you later. I'll DM you as I normally do. Let me get to Mike's song.
Thank you, Annie. Have a great weekend, everyone, and thank you for your support as well. Thank you, much love. I really appreciate you. So thanks.
You've been brilliant. You've been brilliant. You're going to be even more brilliant on Wednesday. I know that for sure. So I'm going to play Mike's song. That's going to see us out, my friends. So you take care. Enjoy your Friday. Enjoy your weekend as well. Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, so young as the new kid here, you found me sitting all alone. Said, hey bro, wanna be my friend? That's how our story would begin. Through every doubt and lonely day, you found the words I couldn't say. Now the laughter fades but never dies. In the corners of my mind it stays. Your heart so big, your jokes so bad. The best friend that I ever had. Though cancer took you far too soon, I still hear echoes of your voice. Middle school was rough on us. Kids can bully so easily, but you'd crack wise and make me smile. Said forget them all, you're worth the while. Your humor sharp, your spirit bright. You made the darkness feel less tight. Now the laughter fades but never dies. In the corners of my mind it stays. Your heart so big, your jokes so bad. The best friend that I ever had. Though cancer took you far too soon, I still hear echoes of your voice. Years went by, we lost our way. Different towns, different days. Then that call came out of blue. Hey, remember me? Is it really you? We talked for hours, caught up fast. Grateful that we'd found our past. The diagnosis hit like stone. You faced it brave but not alone. I watched you fight with all your might, still cracking jokes somehow just right. Your courage taught me how to be a better man eternally. Now the laughter fades but never dies. In the corners of my mind it stays. Your heart so big, your jokes so bad. The best friend that I ever had. Though cancer took you far too soon, I still hear echoes of your voice. Some friendships burn like morning dew, but ours was built on something true. So when the world gets dark and cold, I hear your voice, both young and old, saying, hey bro, you'll be alright. Your memory burning